Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute segments and then examine it in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Do you know that photography develops during the course of the 19th century?
I think I was aware of that, yeah. Develops, was that the joke?
I said, I was waiting for you to say. We had another minute earlier where I did that too, and you just... Okay, so, haha.
So this bit is developing.
It's developing, and it turns out somebody threw the door open on the dark room.
Yeah, it turns out this is not an instant.
This is not instant. All right. Photography, as we know it, like 1822, there's a French inventor who basically does the first photo etch. That's kind of the precursor to a lot of this that happens. And when you start to actually have like cameras, this evolved in a very interesting way over the course of like that 100 years almost. Victorian era, 1830s to 1900, totally different sensibilities. So when you sat for a photograph, you weren't smiling, you were just holding still because you had to hold still or else there'd be no photograph. So you've got a lot.
It took a long time.
Right?
It was a minute or two, right?
Right. So you'd have to purse your lips, everything. You're just trying to get some clarity in the photo. Fast forward to 1888, and I'm going to drop a name from an early minute in this movie.
Ooh,
that's right, George Eastman, who founds Kodak. Kodak is known for film, photography, all this stuff. They come out with basically the Brownie, which was the Brownie camera. It was this very cheap, inexpensive camera, changes the world of photography forever. And when people now can actually, everyone can use photography. They can take photos. Photography takes off, 20th century, huge deal. And the time of exposure is far less, meaning that people could smile. And what became popular was the phrase that people would say to bring out that smile in their face, which is, of course, is cheese. Now, a lot of different ideas of why this is, right? It's bringing the teeth together, and then when you bring in the E sound, that obviously, for most people, opens their lips up. That's how you get that smile.
Yep.
Nobody really knows who started it, but there's a theory on who started saying cheese to smile before photographs.
Really?
So get this. There is a reference, the earliest reference, is in the Big Spring Herald in 1943, in an interview with Ambassador Joseph Davies. He was our ambassador to the Soviet Union from 1936 to 1938. And he quote, "I learned that from a politician," Mr. Davies chuckled, "an astute politician, a very great politician, but of course I cannot tell you who he was." And this was in reference to saying cheese, telling people to say cheese before a photograph. It is believed that the politician was Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Wow.
And that FDR may have been the inventor of saying cheese for photographs, which I mean, no idea. I mean, I had no idea. First of all, I didn't know that there was even anyone who could be attributed to that, let alone somebody like that. I think that is very interesting. This information, courtesy of todayifoundout.com, their little article about saying cheese. Couldn't have come up with that on my own. Thank you to those guys. Why would I bring that up? Might be one of the more redeeming parts of the next 60 seconds we were about to talk about.
Of a less than thrilling minute. So, Mama, don't take my Kodachrome away here in minute 29 of Iron Man 2 from 2010, directed by Mr. Jon Favreau. As we start out, they are getting their picture taken. Look, it's the old buddies. It's Tony Stark and... That's right. Justin Hammer is still here. Woo! Best character in the movie. And obviously is getting way closer to Tony Stark than Tony Stark would really want to have him at. So as he's wrapping his arm around and pulling in close, so the photographer, probably from ACM, will take their picture. He's saying, Justin Hammer says, "Say fromage," which of course is French for cheese. And then to continue on, because Justin Hammer doesn't know when to say when, he says, "Say brie."
Well, now,
of course,
listen.
another style of cheese. I think it's very funny.
I think
Justin's having a great time,
too.
and Tony is super uncomfortable with it, and that is also funny.
Well, okay, one, the fromage thing, they're in the south of France, I understand.
Yeah.
Right? And then you
the
realize
language spoken in Monaco is French.
Yes.
Predominantly.
Yeah, predominantly.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, okay, but then to realize, like, well, age doesn't give you a smile. So then what does he do? He pulls another cheese to brie. I mean,
Brie.
is it a dad joke? Kind of.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. Tony's really disgusted.
He does not want to be that close. You know what? I would say that my no prize would be, I bet you Justin Hammer smells terrible. I think he probably has the worst cologne and tons of it.
Like, what's
Dracar Noir.
No, I'm thinking Anchorman. What's
Sex Panther?
Sex Panther. That's what he's wearing. You know that. Totally.
Like,
one drop. No, look at. I did think this was kind of playful on Justin's part, and of course it's ridiculous. And Robert Downey Jr. just completely hams it up, just totally contorted in his face in his disgust, and just lets out the whole "that's so awful" to the brie joke. I mean, he's just like, yeah, I'm done.
And Christine is still trying to remain a professional here. She's like trying to do some sort of interview type thing.
Right.
She says a couple times, she actually tries to get this out a couple of times, then finally says, it's the first time you've seen each other since the Senate hearings, which is sort of like, oh, well, interesting, like stirring the pot there, right, Christine.
Of course.
And so, oh, you mean since he got, and so Tony says, oh, since he got his contract revoked. Oh, that's news. We didn't know that.
Right.
So apparently after that video showing his test pilot getting his spine tweaked.
And that's the implication, right?
Yeah,
is that because
his contract.
Right.
And so, but Justin clarifies. He says, it's on hold. It's not canceled. So he's going, what's the difference between I don't understand.
Well, okay, and to that I would say there is a big difference. Canceled is gone. Difference. It's finished. Yeah. Hold
under review probably is what the official term is.
Hold is temporarily inactive.
Yeah. So they go over and I guess do they grab a random table, or is this Justin's table? I'm not sure. But
that wasn't clear either. I think it was a random
table. And
they
just like, hey, look, there's a table, and they just sit down and continue the conversation. And Justin says, trying to change the subject.
Right.
The truth is, I'm actually hoping to present something at your expo. Hey, folks, remember the Stark Expo? Still going on. 360 days to go.
And I do find this interesting. He's still hoping to present, which we'll get into this. But remember, they have an entire pavilion right off of the main stage. Yeah. We've talked about this from like one of the earliest minutes in this. He's spent some money. Like, yeah, if he wants to present something, he should be able to present something.
Right. What
can I defend Justin Hammer like that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, and if you really think he's that much of a fraud or whatever, then put him on the main stage. Let him embarrass himself.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think Tony's being kind of a louse here. I'm not.
Yeah, he is.
Well, then Tony's reaction is, well, you can present something that works, which of course is another little bit of a dig. Like,
another jab.
Like none of your stuff works, which maybe it doesn't. But obviously here, I feel bad for Justin a little bit. I think he's trying a little too hard. But here's the deal: when you treat somebody like this, foreshadowing spoiler for future Iron Man stories, when you discount them and you ignore them, it's funny what happens to those people. Sometimes they end up being a big problem.
Now, from what it sounds like, from what he's saying, then Justin sort of gets talked over a lot, but it sounds like he already has something scheduled.
Right.
Like he was being polite and saying, like, I'm hoping to present something, but like we already are scheduled to present something on there, even though I don't know at this point if Justin even knows what it's going to be.
No, I don't think he does, or at least I don't think it's done yet or works.
Yeah, like we'll figure it out at the time. I mean, it'll be all right.
Right.
So then we have, I believe it's Natalie comes over and says your corner table is ready. So like they finally kicked out whoever was sitting over there, and now it's become his table. But Tony Stark has to go and freshen himself up first, so that he goes into the bathroom, and then we see he really just needs to check his blood toxicity level, which is fine. Like, so he gets out the blood toxicity, Stark Industries blood toxicity meter, do it. And so we see for the first time it's not 24%. Oh no, we're actually up at 53%. So maybe there's some kind of a thing, but the more blood toxicity is, the bigger jerk he is.
Oh, yes.
So maybe it's somehow tied in. Like, maybe it affects his mood more than
Well, because when we saw this, so this is the third time now we're seeing blood toxicity.
Yep.
We saw it at the beginning at the Stark Expo, right as he comes off stage, which it was at 19%. That was in minute 10.
Yep.
And then what was it in the lab? It was 24.
It was 24 again, yeah.
So 24%. This is a huge jump in the toxicity.
Yeah, it is.
So clearly it's either accelerating or something has happened, but I think this explains why he's such a dork.
Yeah.
He's
hurting. He's like, I'm sure it doesn't feel good.
Right.
You know, I mean, like he's still uncomfortable and stuff too. And I think probably his filters are down.
Right.
So he's more willing to lash out too. He's walking away. He makes a really dumb joke about finding camera slot or whatever.
Oh, no. Right. Another. Right.
But then we have Tony like sort of looking into the mirror.
Right.
Like actually not looking into the mirror. Like he's saying he can't even face himself.
Right.
Like, but the interesting that he goes in and like does the blood toxicity and then like opens his shirt. Like, like, hey folks, just so you remember, this is still Iron Man, and he still has a thing in his chest because we know you've probably forgotten that this is an action movie.
So wait, we gotta look at the whole placement of this. So they're finishing their conversation. Natalie comes and gets him. They walk away. Yeah, there's this really ridiculous and again, a somewhat offensive throwaway line about Hammer and his position at the conference. Right? Yeah. They go. Next thing we see is we see the medical scanner in hand. We see the 53%, and then literally for the last 15 seconds of this minute, it's Tony reflected in the mirror. And yeah, he's holding. Okay, it's a beautiful restroom, by the way, because Hotel de Paris, of course.
Yeah,
he's holding the medical scanner. His tie is undone. His shirt is unbuttoned about halfway down, so that you can see not just the reactor, but also a little bit of the disease marks that are coming out of the reactor.
Yeah,
that all completely odd. Like, why would you do that? One, in that someone rolls into the bathroom because this looks like it's the full restroom, right? You're kind of putting yourself in a weird position. Is this all just visually just to remind you that, oh yeah, this is a total body problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, visually, that's it.
Say just by the way, just that's Tony was being a jerk. He really has a problem. He is still dying. Like
he's hurting.
Like reinforcement. Like, hey, just so you know.
Well, see, then don't you forgive all of what's happened over the last few minutes?
Oh no.
Dang it! Come on!
Because like it doesn't give you a be an a-hole card. Like,
I'm
hurt, so I will hurt others.
So then we so we zoom in on this reflection, and then what happens?
Yeah, and that's it ends with him sort of not looking at himself in the mirror.
That's the whole minute?
That's the whole minute. But luckily, there's more going on in the world than just what's happening here in Monaco as we go, meanwhile, in the MCU. So we roll back a little bit to May 12th of 2010. That is the day that Stark actually appointed Pepper Potts to become the CEO. It's like in the lab when he like had the champagne and stuff too. The same day that there's a freak snowstorm in Moscow, and Ivan Vanko is getting his credentials from the 10 Rings agent, who is only identified in the end credits. So let's roll back to there. So since then, on the 14th of May, Thaddeus Ross arrives in Brazil and sends his commandos to track down Bruce Banner and the fight in Rio de Janeiro, running through the city and smashing into Coke bottles and all that stuff happens on the 14th. On the 15th of May, Bruce Banner wakes up in Guatemala, as he doesn't know where he is, and he found out that he has gone 500 miles north, traveling back to Culver University. So then he'll be making his way here for quite a while. But then on the 21st is actually when Tony met Natalie Rushman, and they did that thing. And so now here we are on the 23rd. So this is the 23rd. So basically the Bruce Banner has begun his journey to return to the United States after hiding out in Brazil, right, while all this is happening. So in between those two scenes. Okay,
that's amazing for this particular reason. As we've been talking about these last few minutes, and I know we talked about the sweeping panorama shot into Monaco right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I almost mentioned how this remind me of the Rio de Janeiro, the shot into they're two very similar shots.
Yes.
Just completely different circumstances for the inhabitants in them.
Yeah.
And it was kind of amazing.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Right?
What a great parallel that is.
Okay,
of like people on the edge of existence versus people who have more than they'll ever need in their entire lives.
Yeah, that's okay. The fact this is all happening at the same time is amazing.
Yeah, and of course, and I think even by this point, Bruce is in Chiapas.
Yeah,
remember laying on the thing on the ground, keep his hands out. And,
the little boy
and the stretchy.
Yeah.
Pants.
The stretchy
remember?
pants. Yeah, I remember those.
And the nightmare and all stuff.
Oh,
all that happened. It takes you back, doesn't it?
It does, but I like Monaco. Monaco's nice.
If you have to be trapped somewhere, let it be in Monaco. Even their jails are probably molto bene.
Jeez. Oh, poor Tony. I feel bad now for Tony.
No.
Yeah,
I know a little bit. Yeah, I mean, like he actually because he's actually, but good news for Tony. He's soon to kick something off of his bucket list.
Oh,
so yeah, make sure you stay around to find out.
We'll find out in the next minute. Nice.
That's right. We'll find out in the next minute, in minute 30. So in the meantime, if you want to discuss how your mind was blown in the fact that Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2 are happening at the same time, you can do so over on Discord. We have our very own Discord server where we talk about all of our shows, including the Marvel Movie Minute, which has its own dedicated channel. We are on there from time to time, popping in to have debates. Rob likes to really get in there and mix it up every once in a while, and then disappear for weeks on end.
I kind of
drop a bomb and then just bug out of town.
And then I just walk away.
I am a long-time lurker. I read almost everything. I say almost nothing. I am creepy that way. But we are there. And anybody can get in on it. Nextreel.com/Discord. And if you want to join our super secret member channels, you can find out how to do that on our website because it's super secret. And we're not just going to give it away here.
Disco may be dead, but the Discord is
alive.
Is just beginning.
So Tony Stark continues kicking stuff off of his bucket list in minute 30. Do not miss it. We will be there. You should be there too. Enough said.
Bye.